Data matrix is a data collection mode in LabQuest that was specifically designed for doing fieldwork. Typically, for data collection, you would collect one thing such as temperature over time. But in fieldwork, not only do you want to collect data versus time, but you'll want to do that over different days. So you have two parameters against which you're collecting data. So you can do that in data matrix. And I'm going to plug in a temperature probe and a conductivity probe. Notice how they are auto-IDing, showing the live readouts. And we're going to be putting them into a stream at two different places today. So turning this into data matrix mode, I tap on mode and then choose data matrix from the list of different modes. Brings us to this screen where you're asked to choose what your rows and runs are going to be. And typically you would put a different site and a different day when you're collecting data out in the field. So you can change these if you want, but I'm going to leave them site and day for now. Also notice the checked automatically increment number box. This is just going to number our sites 1, 2, 3 and our days 1, 2, 3. And again, you can customize that if you want. So we're going to move on by tapping the OK button. And notice that the mode has now changed to data matrix. So let's start data collection by tapping the button in the lower left. This screen has you identify which day and which site you want to start with. So that's correct, day 1 and site 1. I'm going to continue. And this is your screen where you're going to actually take the data values. I'm going to put my temperature probe into my stream at site 1. Wait for that to equilibrate. Also notice there's an unlocked padlock on the red square, and I'm going to tap this now anywhere in the red square, and it turns that white and locks the padlock. So that has grabbed that number. If I've made a mistake, I can tap it again and unlock it. Let me show you that. Unlocked and locked. I can just toggle back and forth. All right, I've saved my temperature value. Now I'll put in the conductivity probe. So this is looking at total dissolved solids. Pretty low in this sample. Once that's pretty stable, I'll tap that and it's locked. All right, so now we're ready to change to a different site. I tap the change button and I'm going to move on down the stream to site 2. So I tap the add site button. Now we're at site 2, still on day 1, and continue. I'm going to move my temperature probe to the site 2. It's cooler here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and grab that value, and then the conductivity for site 2 is much higher, so we must be going into some brackish water here. All right, that's pretty stable, and we'll grab that. Okay, now we're going to change, and we are ready to move on to day 2. So I've closed everything up, gone home for the day, heading to day 2. So I'm going to add a day, tap that button, day 2. I start again at site 1, so I'm going to change this back to site 1. So day 2, site 1, continue. Now I'll go back, put my temperature probe in site 1. Grab that data, conductivity probe into site 1. Grab that data. Okay, I made a mistake. I didn't grab that data. If I go back and continue, you can see it kept it. Temperature was saved, but conductivity wasn't. So I'll tap conductivity. Now it's saved. You can just keep on going. I change. I want to go to site 2 now on day 2. I already have it, so I choose it from the list instead of adding another one. Day 2, site 2, and I continue on to collect the data. Moving back to temperature in site 2. Got that. And finally, conductivity in site 2. And grab it. All right, I'm done, so I tap the Stop Data Collection button, And now we can go to the data table by going to that tab, and notice I have my two data sets, day 1 and day 2. Each one has 2 sites with the temperature and conductivity all filled in. To look at that graph, I'll go to the graph tab, and there they are with the sites on the x-axis. And day 2, if you see in the upper right there next to the filing cabinet, it says day 2. That means I'm currently looking at day 2. There's a graph for temperature, graph for conductivity. I can choose day 1 instead. There it is. Or I can go to all days and see them graphed on top of each other. Now I'm looking at a particular day or days at various sites. But what if I want to flip that around and look at various days at each site? Well, there's a feature called Pivot the Data under Analyze, Advanced, Pivot Data, and now instead of the site being on the x-axis, the day is on the x-axis. And I can plot site 1, site 2, or all sites. For this look at data matrix, I was only using 2 sensors, but you can use 3 because there are 3 ports. But the beauty of data matrix is that you can also use more than that because you can plug and unplug anytime you want during data collection. So you can have virtually an unlimited number of sensors you can continue to plug and unplug. Another nice thing about LabQuest 2 is that it has built-in GPS. So if you enable that, you can get latitude and longitude while you're collecting these data. There will be columns specifically for latitude and longitude, so that if you choose to import this data into Logger Pro, you can use the File Export to Google Maps feature and map your data very quickly and easily.